Hi everyone, Roseanne here. And guess what? It's time for Angel Card of the Day. So glad you can join me. Make sure if you are watching our channel, which we so appreciate, and I hope you are enjoying these videos, but that you hit the subscribe button and the bell. So that way you get notified when we go live with our readings and all our other goodies that we upload, not just with me, but with Justin as well, my husband, Justin Cardoza, psychic medium. So I am going on today on this card of the day. I have told you before that we only use angel cards. We only work from the light. Okay? So when we do a pull, if this is your first time watching us, that's fine. We never do a one card pull. One card in my stack of cards does not tell a story. Okay? Because when a person comes to us and they're looking for a card reading, and generally they're looking for guidance in their life, and we are reading their energy behind the card. So the card doesn't actually mean what it means. It reflects that person's energy, okay? But I have picked out a few cards that I have like certain cards that I absolutely love because the meaning behind them are so powerful. So when we do card readings, we'll do a 3-card spread, or my favorite, which is the full card spread, and it's generally 9 cards, okay? And it could be a couple of more depending upon the person. So time and time again, and I've said this before, I work generally with women. I've read a lot of women. I have a group, a private group that I manage, and it's kind of like a spiritual support group for women who are, working through issues in their life and also have abilities themselves. But I have found that it doesn't necessarily, it can just be any woman. This card, when it comes up, it's always remember, the cards all together tell a story. So when I single out one card, I'm giving you an example of how it would be used, okay? But it's just one example. It doesn't necessarily mean, because it can mean a lot of different things. Again, reading the energy of the person, not the definition out of a book, like some people do who read tarot cards. So this particular card that we picked out today is called the Forgiveness card. And it is Saint Mary Magdalene. And one thing I love about this card is that forgiveness is a big deal. And again, I'm going to say this about women because we are so hard on ourselves. So right away, most people, especially if you're a giver, okay, and this is where some of the situations that I've encountered, okay, is that when this card comes out, and depending upon what cards were with it, because remember, the cards tell a story. The cards don't lie, okay? They're telling your story, the story of the stuff that's inside you that you don't want to deal with. It's kind of like bubbling on that surface. You know it's there, it's like right there, just like kind of nagging you, but you don't want to deal with it. And so these cards are like a wham. It's kind of like to shake you up, to kind of like give you that boost you need. So whenever this card comes out, I always find that the card, whether it's this way or upside down, in situations, whether it's them having to forgive somebody that has done wrong to them. Okay. And that would be the obvious. A lot of people would say that's the obvious. But more than often, especially with women, who I like to call, because I'm actually in this category myself, misunderstood, okay? The forgiveness card actually reflects a lot about ourselves and having to not only forgive ourselves, because when we wake from the lessons that we finally figure out, okay? In our life, we go through experiences. And in these experiences in our life, we make mistakes. And sometimes, we keep repeating them over and over and over again. And at some point, we get tired of making that same mistake. And each time, you do it, you learn a little bit more about yourself. You kind of wake up a little bit more. And when that happens, and you finally have that moment where, whoops, it goes off and says, wait a minute, I am done. I've had enough. I'm over this. That's the lesson. That's the lesson. You've learned your lesson, and now you're ready to move on. So when I have cards that come out with a particular person, especially when it's like a learning experience, that's a card. And let's see here, higher education, or there's a lot of different cards that would accompany this. And I'm giving examples of when I've had this situation. But the forgiveness card, I would tell people that when you finally get to a point in your life, we think more often than not that it's about forgiving the people who have wronged us in our life. Maybe you've been in an abusive relationship and, biblically, they say, you must forgive those, who do wrong, who don't know any better. Well, come on. Like, I get that. But this is a little bit bigger than that. This actually means forgiving yourself. Because when you do wake from that fog, when you wake up from all of that layered tragedy and experience, and you finally get the lesson, and you have this epiphany, and you think, oh my God, what did I do? Like, why did I waste so much time on that? Or, where was I? Why wasn't I focused? What did I do? And you start beating yourself up, and you start going down this road where you're like, you start reflecting on yourself, and you start beating yourself up, and you just can't let go of it. It goes from blaming them to blaming yourself. And in the interim, what it does is it doesn't get you anywhere. You're just still going in that hamster wheel. I mean, you're going nowhere. You're not moving forward. You're not going backwards, but you're just stuck in this cycle. And I don't want to say it's like pity or being a victim, because listen, I've been there myself. It's just a moment in time where you're grieving because you've woken up from this event that has happened in your life, that you've become disconnected from who you really were, and you were blinded by things, and that's not who you were. So now once that fog is cleared and you realize, oh my God, I just wasted all this time. Now you're trying to say, now what did I do? Well, that's the forgiveness card. You've got to forgive yourself. It is one of the most hardest things that you will ever have to do. because you will constantly say, what if? Or why didn't I see it? You know, I wasted so much time. You know, poor choices. Yeah, but you know what? The best part about all of those terrible things is that when you experience those experiences in life and you get to the moment where you finally learn the lesson, and then you get to the forgiveness part for yourself, that's the best part, because that's the part where you move forward, where you decide to move forward, but you're not moving backwards. So that's just one example of how I view the forgiveness card. Again, doesn't necessarily mean that for everybody, but I'm using this in the context of how I have viewed it for my own personal self, and how I have viewed it many times and read that for other women. And maybe you are going through that same situation. Just remember, let it go. It's better to forgive yourself than to keep going on the hamster wheel. So that is the card of the day, the angel card of the day with Roseanne Cardoza. So I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.